UFC Fight Night, Blaydes versus Lewis. We did release our preliminary card video, but we are gonna get right into the main card at this point, and the difficult fights continue. As we mentioned in the prelim video, this is a pretty difficult card overall, but we're gonna do our best to call it. So let's kind of get right into that first fight of the main card. We have Bill Algeo versus Spike Carlyle. Um, I mean, just to kind of get right into the analysis part, I mean, what did I see from Bill Algeo? I saw quite a few things. I mean, he's a fighter that likes to switch his stances pretty often. He likes to use his range. I feel that he's a little bit more effective in the southpaw position as opposed to the orthodox position. Likes to throw a lot of leg kicks, some takedown defense, some clinch, but I wouldn't say either of those areas are amazing for him. But what I do really like on the stand up with Bill Algeo is that he throws a lot of combinations with his hands and his feet. So he's going to be one of those strikers that throw, two punches followed by a kick, or one punch followed by two kicks. So he is going to impress the eyes of the judges at certain times. But I mean, again, kind of lacks the ground game, and I think that's where Spike Carlyle is going to sort of take over. What I like about Spike Carlyle is that he's a pretty fast starter. His stand-up, I wouldn't quite say is the best. He does look pretty uncontrolled at times on his feet. He kind of looks like he doesn't really have a destination or a strategy when he's on his feet either. But he has good wrestling. He has really good wrestling. He has pretty relentless wrestling as well. Going back to him being a fast starter, I feel he's a fighter that puts a lot of pressure on you. And you know what? His ground and pound is pretty decent as well. And on top of that, we've seen in the stand-up, we've seen some KO ability from him from an accumulation of punches. So that lets you know that he can kind of stay there with the stand-up as well. This is an interesting fight for me because believe it or not, at first I had Bill Algeo winning this fight. I do think it's a close match. I do think that either fighter has a path to victory. I think that Bill Algeo, he can control the fight on his feet, like I mentioned. Carlyle doesn't seem to have the best stand-up, in my opinion. But I do also think that Carlyle can kind of just use that relentless pressure, or use that wrestling, use that grappling, and kind of get the best of Bill Algeo. So, you know what? I will say this is a close one. I'm going to say, really beware on either fighter that you pick. But I mean, as we always say, put a gun to my head. Who am I going to pick? I'm going to go with Spike Carlyle on this one. I think his takedowns is going to be too much for Algeo. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree. This is a tough fight. I agree on a lot of your points you mentioned. Uh, Spike Carlyle is a really, really fast starter. He goes out the gate. In his first two fights, in his first fight against Alan Cruz, he kind of went against him. Alan Cruz had him against the cage, had him clinched. Alan Cruz is trying to work to a takedown. Spike just bashed those elbows right into the side of his head. Like, he finished him right there. And then in his fight with Billy Quarantillo in the first round, like, he just ran at the guy. Like, just ran at him and kicked him like a jump kick. And then same situation. Quarantillo has him against the cage, and Spike Carlyle bashes those elbows at the side of his head again. That gives him the advantageous position at that point in the fight. That allowed Spike Carlyle to get on top and win the round. Now, the concern I have with Spike Carlyle is he puts it all into the first round.
Yes.
Everything. So after that first round, he's a different fighter. He's not the same guy. Like, he really drains himself in that first round. And if you really look at who's fighting here, Bill Algeo, he's actually a fighter that gets better as the fight goes on.
Exactly.
So, and you mentioned Carlyle definitely has the wrestling edge. I agree. But when it comes to actual grappling, believe it or not, Algeo, I'll put him above Spike. I think he has a better grappling. In the two fights Spike had in the UFC, I haven't seen any striking. Again, he had one guy against the cage, elbowed him. The second fight was a 3-round fight, if I'm correct. Yeah, it was a 3-round. Went to
Yeah,
decision.
that one went to decision. That was against
Quarantillo.
Quarantillo. Yeah,
Hmm.
and that was a close one. I do remember that being a close fight.
It was at the beginning. Spike was definitely ahead. Then as the fight went on, Spike was not the same guy. 3rd round, Spike wasn't the same. Um, and this is how I see this fight going. Again, I think this is a close fight. But I actually think Bill Algeo is going to pull this off. I think Spike, because Bill Algeo, let me look here. He hasn't been. I don't think he's been finished. I don't think he's been finished by strikes. So he's been choked out by Shane Burgos in the 2nd round, and he had an armbar to Dean Lavin, but that was back in 2012. So he hasn't been knocked out, and that's, I think, is Spike Carlyle's way to win this fight is to finish Bill Algeo in the 1st round. I think there's a good chance. If you want, I think putting money on Spike to win the 1st round by knockout is a smart pick. But my decision has to be Algeo. I think after the 1st round, Algeo is going to pick it up. He's going to get stronger as the fight goes on. Spike's going to gas out. And Algeo with the striking, he has sneaky striking. He's long, big for the division, or tall for the weight class. Spike's actually going down in weight, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, he's actually going down. So Algeo's size might not be that big of a deal because Spike is used to dealing with bigger fighters. So the fact that Algeo is bigger is not going to be that big of a deal, but I think the cardio is a big deal. And I think as the fight goes on, Algeo is going to pile it up, pile on the points, and win a decision or even a late finish.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, that was my original reason for picking Algeo to win this fight. And again, this is very close. I think either fighter, like I said, has a path to victory. And you know what? This one's just going to be a tough one. I don't even feel great about that Carlyle pick, and I'm sure you don't feel great about the Algeo pick. I mean, we've given reasons for the other fighter to win the fight. So, beware with this one. But we are going to see kind of a split down the middle with this pick as well. First fight on the main card. But let's move on to the second fight here of the main card. We got Miguel Baeza versus Takashi Sato. I feel really good about Baeza on this one. I don't know if you feel the same way.
This fight, remember, Takashi, he's crafty. He's out of Pancrase. 16 wins, 3 losses. When you see him though, like he has some striking. He has that 1-2. He has a really good. He's a southpaw, so he has that sneaky left hand. He has a good jab. He's very accurate with his striking. He has a judo background, but he doesn't really use it that much, eh? But what I see with this fight, I think Miguel Baeza, I think he's gonna have the more weapons in the striking. I think he's gonna have the kicks, the front kicks, the low kicks. Obviously, he has a really good hook, left and right hook. So he definitely has more. I think he has more weapons. I think Sato might be technically a bit more technical, a bit more technical in the boxing area. But I think in the entire aspect of striking, like the kickboxing with the kicks and the punches, I think Baeza might be the better striker in that way.
I agree.
Yeah, so I actually like Baeza. I think his speed. I think the speed might be a big thing here because Sato's not that quick. He kind of pops in 1-2s, and he doesn't cover up immediately, and he's open for that hook that I said Baeza has, a left and a right hook. That's his punch. So I think there's an opening for that. But I think Sato's game, I think he's a good fighter. But looking at Sato's record, though, he lost to Bilal Muhammad, Gleyko Franca, and Kenta Takeji. Now, everybody else that he fought is a nobody. Is nothing. He hasn't fought anybody else aside from those guys. Like his record is literally, it's like one of those boxing records where they have like 30 wins, 0 losses. You know those guys, right? So it's one of those records because he was in Japan fighting all these guys, these low-level guys, stacking his record. He had 1 loss in Pancrase, and then he avenged the loss. He beat the guy back up in the rematch. And he had another loss in Pancrase, and then he went to the UFC. So he hasn't fought top. That record is kind of bloated. So you can't really put too much into that 16-3. Baeza definitely is a younger guy. Sato's more experienced, so you got to give Sato that edge. But I think the speed, I think the dynamics in his weapons, I think his I think the power Baeza has, I think that's going to help him win tonight. We'll win on Saturday.
Yeah, two quick points I'll add to that for Takashi Sato. I think he doesn't move his head much as a boxer. That's one thing
Yes.
I really noticed about him in the stand-up. And I think this fight overall will really just stay on the feet. I think that's another important point to mention as well. And to add on to Baeza's diverseness in his striking, he uses that calf kick a lot. And I think the calf kick as well as the speed is what that the difference in this fight is going to be. And yeah, I'm on board with Baeza. We're definitely in agreement there. But like you said, don't get me wrong. This is a quality opponent. Takashi Sato is a quality opponent, and we're not going to take that away from him. We just feel like Miguel Baeza has a bit more to offer. So, take with that what you may, and let's move on to fight number 3 here. Fight number 3, probably the hardest fight to call on the main card, perhaps. I don't know if you feel the same way, but this is Amir Albazi versus Zhalgas Zhumagulov.
I think that's off the card, eh?
Is it?
I think, let me check one thing. One sec. I think we can save some time on this one.
I hope so, because this is a tough one.
I'm pretty sure this is off the card.
This is a tough one. As you're looking that up, I'll give the listeners a bit of information here. Zhumagulov, I mean, is a decent southpaw in the stand-up. He likes to shuffle around the ring, uses a lot of movement, likes that shuffle kick to kind of keep his opponent at distance. He does have some speed. Definitely has heart, definitely has cardio, as we've seen in his previous fights. I did notice some grappling and wrestling from him as well. But if we are comparing him to Amir Albazi, I just see a little bit more from Albazi. And in terms of not only the striking, I think his MMA striking might be a bit better, despite Zhumagulov maybe having the better boxing.
Okay. That is canceled.
That fight is canceled, so we don't even have to talk about it. Yeah, because that was a tough one.
I don't even got a reason. So they'll explain. But yeah, that's canceled.
That was a tough one. So I'm glad we can skate by that. So let's move right on here then to the 4th fight on the main card. We got Josh Parisian versus Parker Porter. I don't know how you feel about heavyweight fights in general, but I feel like every heavyweight fight deserves a disclaimer that anything can happen in these heavyweight fights, especially when we're looking at 2 fighters who are not of the highest level of competition. How do you feel this fight's gonna go?
Low level guys. They both, to me, should have been in the UFC.
I agree.
Parker Porter, 35, 6 foot, 265. So he's 6 foot, 265 pounds. Give yourself a visual. He's not in shape. He's fighting Josh Parisian, another big guy that cuts weight to that weight class. They cut weight to make 265. Josh Parisian is 6'4", 265, 31. So he's a younger guy, the taller guy. They're both low level. Parisian believes he's like a karate guy, like a ninja. Like he's a big guy, but he likes to throw a lot of kicks, spinning kicks.
He does have a sneaky calf kick, I will say.
Yes, he likes to throw the kicks. His hands are not looking good though.
Agreed.
And that's where Parker Porter that's Parker Porter's thing, right? Like, he's not Chuck Liddell, but he's heavy and he throws the right, throws the left. He has the loop and hooks. He's a brawler. So he definitely has a chance to catch Parisian here. But I'm going to have to go with Parisian. How I see the fight going, I think Parisian's just going to use his reach and in and out kick. Because Parisian actually has good fighting instincts. Mm-hmm. Like, he actually, on the Contender Series, he was fighting a much more agile guy, a smaller guy that could move around. And what was the guy's name again? I seen that fight the other day. Chad Johnson, who was like 220 pounds. So Chad Johnson had him up against the cage, and Parisian got him with a sneaky punch. Again, the punch wasn't the best punch, but it was a sneaky punch to, at the right time, put the other guy down. Parisian went on top, too big, 265 against 220, and just kind of pounded him out. He actually went to full mount, which I like. So I know that if it goes to the ground, he is looking to better his position as well. Yes. So he has a better ground game. He has the kicks. His punching isn't good, but I think with his height, his age, I think this is a fight that he should win.
Yeah, agreed. I think Parker Porter's chances go as far as a puncher's chance. I mean, like you said, he's not quite Liddell, but he does put his weight into it. And I think unless he clips Parisian with one of those, I think Parisian is on his way to a pretty smooth win. Whether it be on points, whether he catches him, I think Parisian is lined up to win this fight here. So definitely going to go with Parisian, but again, heavyweight disclaimer: be careful with these heavyweight fights,
Yeah,
especially
all it takes is one punch, right? With these guys are big guys, small gloves, one punch, either side, right? So you just got to be smart with these heavyweight bets. I agree with Harris there.
That's it. All right, so let's move on to the co-main event. This is one of the more interesting fights on this card for sure. We have Anthony Lionheart Smith. We have Devin Clark. I guess the question is Anthony Smith done? Because this is definitely a difference in the level of competition compared to his last, 5 or so fights?
Last three to four fights. He lost to Rakic. Yeah, he got beat pretty bad there. He lost to Glover Teixeira. Fight he was doing good in, then Teixeira does what he does, takes over. He beat Gustafsson, a fight he was losing, and then he rallied and got a submission. And then, of course, he lost to John Jones before that. Well, before that, he beat Ustamir, Rua, and Rashad Evans.
Yep. Hector Lombard.
Yeah, Lombard, Sanchez. So, yeah, he lost to Thiago Santos. So, this is a tough fight to me. I get it why the bookies have this, or Vegas has this, like almost a pick 'em. One thing I noticed though with Anthony Smith is when he's been quitting a lot. He's been like, once he gets to the ground, he doesn't really. Because I know he's kind of busy with all these speaking jobs and these announcer jobs he's doing with, I believe, with ESPN. So I know he's not as focused, right? And he also mentioned after his last loss to Alexander Rakic, he said, "I don't know what to do. These guys are too strong for me. Once they get me on the ground, I can't move." Like, that scares me. He said this literally right after he lost to Alexander Rakic, who had a bit of success on the ground with him, right? So, man, because you got to give Anthony Smith a striking edge. He's still dangerous. He's only lost to like really good fighters, Rakic, Teixeira, Jones. This is definitely a step down in competition fighting Devin Clark. But Devin Clark is actually coming into his own. He's 30 now. Mm-hmm. He just beat Alonzo Menefield. He was an underdog there. He took a beating.
And he took his hits. Yeah, I was just about to say he took his hits. I mean, he wore it, but he survived it.
And yeah, no, you're right. You're right. He survived it, came back, won the rest of the fight, right? He beat the Quan Talented, which he should have, but he did what he had to do. He took him down, took down a taller fighter. I actually think Devin Clark is my pick. I actually like him here because, again, Anthony Smith should win this fight. This is definitely a step down. But Anthony Smith does have cardio issues.
Yes.
Devin Clark has no cardio issues. So the longer this fight goes, it's definitely going to benefit Devin Clark. He can wrestle for 3 rounds. And I think, or pulling up information on Anthony Smith, he has a 51% takedown defense. So he doesn't fight a wrestler in every fight, right? And he's fighting guys like non-wrestlers are taking him down, right? So you got to factor in that. And Devin Clark is a legit wrestler. He's with Jackson and Wink, so he's going to have a good corner behind him that's going to tell him to use his strength. That's one of the good things about Jackson and Wink. Whenever a fighter is cornered by those guys and your fighter has an advantage, you better believe those guys are going to make the fighter utilize those advantages.
And he's gonna go for it. And like you said, I mean, Anthony Smith, he's gonna let himself go down. He's way too comfortable off of his back. And I wasn't aware of that Rakic comment. So for him to say, "Hey man, these guys are way too strong for me," and you're now facing somebody who is a wrestling, a grappling, a clinch specialist, I have to think that Devin Clark takes 2 rounds from him. I have to think that. But like you said, I mean, this fight is, I wouldn't say set up for Smith to win, but I would say this fight is sort of gifted to Smith in some ways based on the level of competition that he's faced. But I can't trust Anthony Smith whatsoever. Not at this point. I mean, it's a close fight. I can see either fighter winning. I think Anthony Smith should win based on the striking advantages that he has.
The
But
side.
I've seen Devin Clark take Menifield's hits, survive it out, and then use his strength to outscore and to outpoint and to win the way that he needed to win. And I think this fight's going to go the same way. I think we're going to see 2 rounds of Devin Clark winning, whether it's smothering wrestling or whether it's just enough wrestling to get you by in the round. But I'm with you on this one. I think we're both going to go with the minor underdog, Devin Clark. I think, yeah.
I think a big point we missed. I think a big point we missed is we both missed is Devin Clark is really good against the cage.
Yes. He likes to use that inside low kick in the clinch on the cage.
Yes, and you can hold the fighter on there for like a minute. So when they're going back and forth clinching on the cage, Devin Clark's gonna have that position where his back's not against the cage, because he's gonna get under the hooks, and Smith gives up, man. Smith should win. He's a bigger guy, has the striking. If he hits Clark, but Clark has shown us from the Menifeld fight, he can take a shot.
Now, that being said, what I don't like about Clark a lot is that even when he takes the hit, even before the hit comes, boxing-wise, he goes right into a turtle defense.
Yes.
So, if Anthony Smith will take advantage of that, even just to look good and maybe get an early stoppage or something along those lines, it's very possible. But I don't think Anthony Smith hits harder than Alonzo Menifield, and Devin Clark has taken Alonzo Menifield's hits. So I think just that UFC math somehow tells me that Devin Clark will be able to take Anthony Smith's hit despite turtling up. And once it gets to the cage, we'll see what Devin Clark does. We'll see him kind of dirty boxing it, clinch it, take him down. Smith is going to allow himself to go down. 2 minutes are going to go by, and then the round is going to be Devin Clark's. So, I mean, I just can't trust Anthony Smith at this point.
I'm with you on that, man, all day. I like Devin Clark. He should be a bigger underdog. He should be a big underdog, but
I agree.
He's not giving Smith his respect, right?
Exactly. All right, so Devin Clark, we're gonna both go for the minor underdog on that. So let's go right ahead then into the main event, the fight that we are all waiting to see. A fight that I'm really excited to see here. We have Curtis Razor Blaydes versus Derrick Lewis. I'm going to go with Blaydes on this one. I'll start with my pick. I'm going with Blaydes on this one, but I know you can probably explain it better as to why that is.
Okay, here's how the fight's going to go. Derrick Lewis is live for the first 15 seconds of each round. Like first 15 seconds. And after that 15 seconds, he's on his back. And he's gonna stay on his back. And I actually think Blaydes is gonna get a finish this fight. I actually think Blaydes is going to get the finish, because Blaydes is a big boy. Like, I think Blaydes is going to be able to let go of some heavy ground and pound on Lewis. Lewis doesn't really have the defense from the back. He's not going to threaten at all. He's just going to pretty much turtle up and take the shots. And I don't think Blaydes is going to relent. I think he's just going to keep going. I don't give Lewis a shot. Like, I give him that puncher's chance, but I don't even give him a puncher's chance. I know that Ngannou got Blaydes twice with the power, but Ngannou had that height. He had that leverage, the reach, and and the way Derrick Lewis throws his strikes, he's more of a hook guy. He's not really more of a straight or jab guy. Like, he's more of a hook guy. Like, he hooks you, he gives you a hook, and you're out. I don't think he's going to get it. And I think Blaydes is a solid pick here to get this win here.
I agree with that. Cardio, we know, is going to be a thing that appears in this fight, as it does in every Derrick Lewis fight. Now, we know that Derrick Lewis in his last fight is working on getting in a better physical shape to be able to handle these type of fights. But I have to just go with Curtis Blaydes on this one. I think we're looking at a wrestling advantage. I think the striking is not that much in the favor of Derrick Lewis outside of the one power strike. And I think, like you said, I mean, he's probably live for the first 15 seconds. And then from there, the game plan of Blaydes should come into effect. So I'm pretty comfortable picking Curtis Blaydes on this one as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I mean that's going to be it for the fights themselves. But of course, as we want to do here on Boxing MMA Picks, is we always want to give you this from a betting perspective and from a Las Vegas perspective. So let's go right here to Bet365, and let's do a few picks here. Let's do who is your underdog pick or underdog picks of the card? If you want to do just maybe the main card, or if you want to do both prelim and main card, who are you thinking from a underdog pick perspective?
Okay, who are the underdogs we got for this card?
So we have Norma Dumont, we have Anderson Dos Santos, we have Nate Maness, we have Malcolm Gordon, we have Jonathan Pierce, Devin Clark, Bill Algeo, Derrick Lewis, Parker Porter, and Takashi Sato.
Okay, I'm going with underdog of the week. I got okay, cool. I got Devin Clark and I got Bill Algeo.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Bill Algeo, very much a 50-50 pick. Devin Clark, we both feel is going to edge this one out. And I mean that's going to be a pretty solid payday there, right? I mean that's going to be 4 times your money, $100.
I wouldn't put it on a parlay. I wouldn't put it on a parlay.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're right. You're right. Let's not even give that kind of energy. But yeah, no, two good underdog picks there for sure. I'm gonna echo that message with Devin Clark as one of my underdog picks for sure of this card. And as for another underdog pick, I mean, I don't feel amazing about any other underdog. I would possibly say a second underdog that I would go with would be Nate Maness. But yeah,
I get it. Maness, big boy, he's good. It's gonna be a fight.
Difficult card though. Difficult card, right? It's gonna be a fight.
Again, I said this is the hardest card of the year.
I agree with that.
Like to give you discretion, like take it easy at this card. This is not like last week, the week before. This card is legit the hardest card of the year from a gambling perspective.
I agree with that. Give me your parlay then. What's your parlay for the week? What are you comfortable putting money on?
All right, let me see. So I like Mudaerji.
Yep.
Okay, I like Mudaerji there. Go down a bit more. Miguel Baeza. I'm actually going with Miguel Baeza. And I like Curtis Blaydes. Curtis Blaydes, I think, is guaranteed. So I like Curtis Blaydes there.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid 3. That's a pretty solid 3. $100 will get you $171 profit on that. And funny enough, I mean, I think our parlays would be pretty much the same here. I do like Baeza. I do like Blaydes as well. Let's see, who else do I like here? I think I would probably add one more fight to that I feel pretty decent about, and that would be Kai Kamaka for me. I know size could be a concern there with Jonathan Pierce, but I'm pretty comfortable with the difference in ability when it comes to Kai Kamaka. So I'm comfortable adding that 4th fight on that parlay for myself. And at that point, $100 will get you about a $250 profit there. So you definitely have some parlay options on the table. But again, hard card, difficult card. Please beware of what you're betting on for this. If we have maybe kind of 2 golden picks that we want to say, we can't say any locks because there definitely are not any locks on this card at all. But if there's kind of the 2 picks that we feel best about, I think we kind of mentioned them already. I think Curtis Blaydes is one of them. And I think the other one has to be Zhumagulov. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's based on the card. I think those are the 2 best picks to, if you want to go heavy on. That's the 2 picks to go heavy on, and then see what happens with the rest. But these are the 2 picks you want to go heavy on. How much would be like, say you put $250 on that?
Yeah, so that wouldn't be too bad at all, right? Because we're looking at a 67% return here. So $250, that'll get you, $417 total return. So pretty decent. I mean, we're talking $160, give or take.
That's not bad. And those 2 fights look like those two fights, those fighters have big advantages, right, in their
Yeah,
in those fights. So yeah, they should get it done. Yeah, that's something I'm looking at as far as betting goes.
I agree with that. So your two golden picks. Let's put it. Let's mention it here. So Sue Mudaerji as well as Curtis Blaydes. Pretty solid two card parlay there as our two golden picks. Again, we do want to be aware that there is no locks on this card. This is a pretty difficult card, but hopefully we've given you guys enough insight for your picks. Let us know how you guys do in the comments. Let us know if there's any picks that you agree or disagree with in the comments, and let's make this money.
Subscribe and like the video.
That's it. You know it already. Like,
All right, all
subscribe,
right.
share it. Let everyone know. Let everyone know that we're here to help you guys try to make some money. So let's do it, man. UFC Fight Night, Blaydes versus Lewis. It's gonna be a fun one.